Hey, good morning to you. So I thought I would document some of the lost man exercise that I'm about to engage in with Wayne Elliott. So here's the setup. Wayne's been told to meet me at a location. He knows the name of this location, so he basically knows where his vehicle is going to be. He then knows that I'm going to take him somewhere else and we have to navigate. And that's pretty much all that Wayne knows, okay, at this point. He's probably watched a video where Tracy's done this, probably watched it where I've done it. We've talked about this exercise in land navigation coursework, so he's had that benefit too. But here's what's going to happen after I pick him up. I'm going to blindfold him. I'm going to put him in my truck, and then I'm going to drive him several miles away. And after I drive him several miles away blindfolded, we're going to park at another location, and then I'm going to get him out, still blindfolded, walk him down into the woods. And when I say down into the woods, what I mean is I'm going to walk him down into the bottom of a hollow, what we call a holler here in Kentucky. And purposely doing that so there's very few natural landmarks and definitely no man-made landmarks that are there. Now, once there, I'm going to hand him a map, and the map that I give him, I don't want to give any secrets away in case you want to engage in this yourself. So I'll put it this way. The map has a lot of information on it, a lot. And when I say a lot of information, I mean a lot of topography. There's a lot of terrain features in this area. A lot of terrain features to work through. So what he will then start doing is working himself through what he sees on the map. Particularly first, what he'll have to do is work through where he's located and try to find those locations on the map. Okay, so you can probably start figuring that out. Now, this is the beauty of how Tracy has trained us in land navigation, because the way Tracy's always trained us is to think of those terrain features as bits of information, and you just continue adding bits of information to create a clear picture. You can think of them as puzzle pieces, if you will. And the more information you get, the more likely you are to create a clear picture of where you are and what have you. Okay, so with that said, he's going to start creating that picture, and then he'll have to make a navigation determination and move out from there. So that is basically the gist of the exercise. Now, let me give you a little bit of background information on what I'm carrying with me and how we're doing this so we can be safe. Number one, I've told Tracy. Number two, I've told my wife where we're going, when we should expect it to be returned. I've also informed both of them that we have the necessary supplies to stay out the night if we need to. So we are prepared. Now, I personally am traveling very light because we're going to be covering a lot of miles today. And so I'm carrying what I would consider survival supplies, not real big comfortable supplies. My shelter is a garbage bag, if you will. And that's all that I'm carrying for shelter. I'm carrying a lot of extra fire building supplies because everything out here is soaking wet. So that's going to be a problem. Beyond that, I've got a few other things that I'm sure I'll get into them today. And we'll see what Wayne carries, because he has been told to bring with him stuff to take care of his needs for an uncomfortable overnight outside. So we'll see what kind of stuff he brings. And as I meet up with him, we'll probably make a couple more videos here and there. And thank you for joining, and I hope you learned something from this.
I'll keep going.
All right, guys and gals, this is the point that I was mentioning earlier, in which I'm walking Wayne in. We got his hat down so he can't see anything. He can see his feet because we're on uneven ground. A lot of uneven ground right here, Wayne. A lot of rocks. Couple things to keep in mind. Wayne and I were just discussing leadership. I'm not asking Wayne to do anything that I haven't done myself. And you can take that for what it's worth as far as leading others and guiding others. There's a time to be mean-spirited, I guess. That's the way some people look at it. But an exercise like this is not the time to do that. Stress inoculation is important to training, proper training. But stress inoculation doesn't have to come in the form of beating people down. Sometimes that's useful, particularly in military settings, but not in this particular setting. So it doesn't do Wayne any good for me to beat him down. I want to be helpful to him in his educational process. So, but you can see we're going deeper into the woods, still blindfolded. We've already parked the vehicles. We're probably 2 to 3 minutes out from handing him the map. Once I hand him the map, I'll get him back on camera, give you opportunity to see what his thoughts are on where he is. A lot of uneven ground, Wayne. Soft, slick. And keep documenting this as best we can. Hope you learn from it. And again, don't expect any insider tips that are going to help you. I'm keeping this incredibly vague on purpose. And you're not going to be coming to the same place Wayne is. So don't be looking around trying to think, hey, I'll remember that, because you're not going to come to the same spot if we do it again. All right, Wayne, go ahead. The moment of truth. So here we are, you all. Give you an idea. We've walked in on this trail. That makes it easy, so it's not difficult for Wayne to walk down that trail on the with a blindfold on. Now he's in the process of getting his eyes on, putting his glasses on, and he's going to start looking at what he's got here. So here's, just so you know how we set this up. We're on a trail, and everybody's going, well, all he's got to do is find that trail. Well, I took the trail off of the map. The trail's not on the map. So that's not going to be a help. So now we're going to work through some things, and we'll see where it takes us. I'll be back shortly. First thing Wayne's doing is orienting his map to north. We've talked about this. Tracy talked about this a million times in class. This is fundamental. Making sure that his map is oriented to the earth, utilizing his compass. Here's some quality control issues to consider. He's only using one compass. What if that compass is wrong? How would he determine if that compass is working properly? Could we utilize the sun today to help us navigate? That would be tough because everything's behind cloud cover today. So this is part of the issue. For those that have been here, last time I was here and we did this, you could walk right across this without getting wet. That's going to be an issue for today. That is new for even me today. So awesome. All right, while Wayne is getting some of his feelings on where he is, he's over there doing that right now. I'll talk about gear. Tell you what I'm carrying. Maybe later when Wayne feels more comfortable with where he is, he'll talk about what he's carrying. I'm carrying Hill People Gear search and rescue chest kit. Inside this kit, I have my compass, I have my map. What I did with the maps before coming out, one of the simplest but coolest things that Tracy Trimble's ever taught me is to put tape on a map to waterproof it. That way we don't have to have a map cover. We don't have to have something extra like that. It's just covered in tape. For future reference, that allows you to draw on the map with dry erase markers and stuff like that. So come to the Land Nav class, you'll learn a lot. I also have chem light in here if we need to give away our location at night to a search and rescue team. I also have on my back the recon harness from Hill People Gear, the admin pocket. Inside that admin pocket I have some calories. Particularly I got some RX bars, got a couple of Cliff bars that I actually like the taste of, so that'll give me a morale boost. Have an extra bottle of water. I've been slamming water the whole way here. Took about an hour drive here, and I've been slamming water the whole time. Wayne has been too. He's already pissed once, which is a good sign. I'm looking for that kind of thing. I've already pissed once. I've got an insulated vest that I will utilize if I have to stay the night out here. That'll be my core body temp. I've also got some hot hands that I'll put in there for a good warm night. You'll see my antenna sticking out. That's my ham radio. I'm leaving that off in case I actually need that for an emergency, but I've got it programmed where I can get to repeaters from this location. So looks like Wayne's carrying the Hill People gear. I'm Lindy. Got a couple of Nalgene bottles, plenty of water. He told me earlier he's got like an insulated poncho in there. He's going real light too. You carrying a Chamonix, Wayne? He's carrying a Chamonix on his side, carrying a folder in his pocket. It's got a ferro rod on his knife sheath. I've got my Chamonix in my pack. I'm carrying a folder in my pocket. Inside that admin pocket in the back, I have my fire kit. I always keep my fire kit in a Magpool waterproof container. Inside that, I have 4 fast fires, some jute twine, ferro rod, as well as a lighter. In my pocket, I have a lighter, and that'll give you a good idea. I'm sure we'll talk some more. I'm using trekking poles today. Again, I think I mentioned that earlier. Going real light today, so we'll see how it goes. All right, Wayne, initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts, so I've oriented my map. I know which direction is north, based off of this here. I took an azimuth off of this draw here, and an azimuth off of this draw here, and I'm gonna kind of see where I can find on the map where I may have possible locations where those intersect.
Okay. So what are you looking at on the map after you get those readings? Explain that again.
I'm going to see if I can find on the map a location where I've got a draw going both north or both directions where I can pinpoint.
So what was your reading going down this one right here?
This one down this way is 340 degrees. And
is that magnetic or map?
This is magnetic.
Okay, and so what will that be on your map? And how do you know?
Well, I'm running north off of the edge of the map, so that should give me a true north.
Okay.
And I'm probably saying that wrong, but
that's all right.
I'm going...
everything's not going to be perfect today.
So I'm going 340 degrees off that. If I keep my map pointing north, based off of the direction on the compass and the edge of the map, I should be able to get the same bearings, or use the azimuth to find draws that have those.
Okay. What's declination?
Declination is the degrees that it is east or west of true north or magnetic north.
Okay.
And it's going to change based off of where your location is, east or west. It's going to be the same here. It's not going to change here.
Right.
So it's -7 degrees right here.
Okay, cool. While Wayne's figuring a few more things out, let's talk about a couple other safety things so that we know we're not flying by the seat of our pants here, because that's not advisable. Again, I mentioned earlier, I've told at least 2 people where we are. I told them we'd get started at 9 o'clock. It's 9:02. So planning is going well as far as what we should be doing. The couple of things that we've done is Wayne has turned his phone off. He knows how to use Gaia GPS, because that's a fail-safe. You can pull the GPS and just put in coordinates to his vehicle or my vehicle and go back. Let's say something like I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. Wayne is. He has no idea where he is. I've been in this part of the world a few hundred times probably, so I'm very familiar with where I am. But what happens if I have a heart attack and die out here? Does Wayne die because of that? No. So here's what we did as a safety measure. He plugged the coordinates of his vehicle into his Gaia GPS. I gave him the coordinates so that he has them, so that he can plug those into his Gaia GPS if he needs them, of where my truck is. That way, no matter where he finds himself today, he can go about navigating. I didn't have him plug that into his Gaia GPS, because if he did, he would have seen where we were located, and I didn't want him to have that benefit. But he has the coordinates. Here's a couple things that have been surprises that are not so good, and that is a good learning experience. Number one, there's more water here than I expected. Usually we would walk right across these creek crossings without any trouble whatsoever. The big one for me, Craig Cottle, big mistake, is when I pulled my boots out to put them on, I had, last time I used them, taken the footbeds out so they would dry, and those footbeds are now at my house and not on my feet. So yeah, mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. I am. So hope that helps. I'll try to add some stuff as we move along. Hope you're enjoying it. If you have questions, put them in the comments wherever you're finding this video, and I'll do what I can to help. So we're kind of at a standstill in that he's got bearings, azimuths, going down a long hollow that we have here. What Wayne has done so far is he's isolated himself to one half of the map, saying that he's not on the other half. And this is one of those things I don't want to give too much away in case you want to do this, but he's doing okay right now. He's not wrong, I'll put it that way. Now he's trying to get more information. So he's walking around here a little bit and looking. While he's continuing to do that, I want to talk about a couple other things to keep in mind. So maybe down in the high 20s tonight, mostly in the 30s today. Here's what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a long sleeve wicking t-shirt underneath this waffle knit insulated shirt. I'm wearing my old school NRS hat, so I didn't have to wear a toboggan, keep my head a little bit warmer than the typical hat that I wear that you see me in all the videos. That's my favorite hat. It's more comfortable, but this one's just a little bit warmer. I have a manly beard. That'll keep my face warm for the rest of the day. I'm wearing 5'11" pants and 5'11" boots that I mentioned before. I didn't want to wear my muck boots out here because they're just not very good for lots of miles of hiking, and we're going to be doing lots of miles today. Wayne's wearing some comfortable pants, looks like Merrell boots, wool sweater that he wears to everything I've ever seen him in, which is a really good choice in weather like this. In case he gets wet or I get wet, we both have layers on that are going to continue to keep us warm even if they're wet. So that's a good choice on a day like today. It's not supposed to rain, but there's so much moisture out here. We're getting rained on a little bit already, so that's all good. So here's where Wayne is. We got a big holler down there, and we got a little hill here. These are the things that he's noted. I'm not saying anything that he hasn't pointed out. And he's got a ridge right there. He doesn't have enough information where we stand, or he doesn't feel like he does, to make a judgment on where he is. So now he's going with the struggle of, do I go down this holler and get more information, or do I go to that hilltop and get more information? So I've told him he needs to come up with a choice. What's it going to be, Wayne? We going up or we going down the holler?
We're going to go up for a second.
All right.
That's my inclination.
We're going up, see what we can see. So as we were getting ready to take off, Wayne brought up that creek might be a piece of information worthy of consideration before we go up. So now he's running that through his head now. You can think of it a couple of ways. Either he's relaxed and thinking clearly and hadn't thought about that yet, or he's second guessing himself. So that is a big thing that you need to figure out and understand about yourself, is when you start second guessing yourself, that's when you get into a lot of trouble. Recognize that we all do it. I do it. Wayne does it. I'm not saying he's doing it right now. You do it. And recognize when you're doing it so that you can get in control of it. That is mindset. And for those of you out there that say that you can't teach people mindset, screw you. I'm doing it right now. I'm teaching him how to develop his mindset. You're wrong. All right, Wayne, tell me what you're doing.
All right, so I've come up. I can see two distinct high points here and a saddle. So I'm taking a bearing to this point and then a bearing to this point. And I'm going to see if I can find on here where I'm thinking I'm located those points.
That's called triangulation. So no secret to that. Again, if you want to stay in land navigation, come train with us or pick up the book. The best way to train with us is to train with us, not the book. The book is great. Best book on land navigation out there, in my opinion. Now, it's just not just because me and Tracy wrote it. I just think it is. But the best way to get good at land navigation is to get out and navigate on the land. So he's taking those azimuths to those points. You can see now the 2 points he's talking about. There's one right above my head. Right above my head's the saddle that he mentioned, and right above my head's the other point. He's taking those and seeing if he has a guess in a very general sense where he is right now. We are about 30 minutes into this. Now he's just trying to get it more accurate and see if he's right. We'll see. All right, so here's a good discussion for you, and this is not a reflection on Wayne's ability. It's what we're out here to do, is to work through problems. He took a reading down there of 340 degrees down this holler. I'm looking at it and I know that that's way off. He's got up here on top, he's taking another reading, and it's 60 degrees difference. So what he and I are going to work through right now are the things that he did down there that could have caused him problems, which are what kind of things could have made it be off?
Could have made it be off how I was holding it metal.
Holding it the way he held it, if he didn't hold it properly. If he had metal close to it and it was pulling the magnetism of the needle off.
Misreading the marks.
Misreading the marks on the compass.
Turned my compass.
So now you all process this on your own, and Wayne's already done it. We climbed higher and he's dead on. So he's holding his compass, quite frankly, the same way he did down there. It's just when you're down there, it's hard to see. Where does that holler go? Because I'm talking, we got trees in front of our faces that we just couldn't see, but we can see a little bit more up here. So that's being helpful to us. White pine. This is why they're called wagon wheel pines. If you look up through the bottom of this tree, look up, you'll see that the branching, you can see it. You're not supposed to. This is just for benefit of everybody else. Sorry, Wayne. I'm letting you work through your problems over there. There's sections of branching up the tree. So you'll see branching, and then you'll go up a ways and you'll see more branching. And it looks like the spokes of a wagon wheel. Tracy's the one that taught me the wagon wheel reference. I like that. Hey, here's another one you can see even better off in the distance. See that one right here? I'm pointing on my screen. See the one right next to my head? That's another white pine down through there. You can see you go up branching, and then you go up a little bit more, and there's a bunch more branches. If you were looking underneath, it would look like the spokes of a wagon wheel. That's a Virginia white pine, Pinus strobus. Wagon wheel, because that looks like a wagon wheel. You can roughly guess the age of a tree by how many of those levels of branching there are. So I'll try to pepper our adventure today with that too, so we can learn some other things as well. I given Wayne, I told him I give him 5 minutes to give me a general location where he is on the map, and then if he doesn't come up with it right, we're getting in my truck and going home. So that's what we call stress inoculation, because he really wants to do this today, and I want to aggravate him like that. And I'm serious about it too. While we're standing here, let's talk about some tree ID with tree buds. Take a look at this guy right here. If I can get this focused. See that cluster of buds on the end of this, on this terminal bud? That's an oak tree. If you look at this guy right next to it, see, I'm looking at all these little trees right here like this. Just showed you an oak tree, but let's take a look at this guy. Different. See how the coloration of it? Notice that the leaf buds are opposite of one another on this branch right here, opposite of one another, that is a red maple. So mad bucking horse, maple, ash, dogwood, buckeye, horse chestnut, their leaf stems are going to be opposite one another on the branching. So if we had need of knowing these particular trees for bushcraft purposes, because oak would serve a better purpose in bushcraft than, let's say, the little maple tree would, or if we want to be cognizant of the stewardship of the forest and I need one of these little guys, I would use the red maple because it's not going to have as much value to wildlife here, so I would harvest the red maple rather than the oak. So another little tidbit for you. So Wayne's found 2 locations on the map that are 40 degrees, which is what he determined this hollow here is. Now he's trying to figure out which one's which. And I'll come back to you later and we'll see if he's right. So here's where we are. Go ahead and lead us out. I'll follow you. He got up on top of the hill. He got an azimuth on that hollow creek. The azimuth he's got, I mean, I've got the GPS, so I know what it is exactly. He was within 1 degree of azimuth, which is fantastic, okay? So I had him tell me where he was on the map. Give us a guess. He's 45 minutes into this, and he's probably within 500 meters of where he is on this map. Now, my next challenge to him is I want him to get within 100 meters of where he is on the map. So what he's doing now is determining some more terrain features that would give him more direction of where he is. His thought process is to get up here on this flat, because you can see him a flat in the general area where he thinks he is, and he just learned a very valuable lesson. And what was that lesson, Wayne?
Well, it may be flat, but it's not flat.
It's flat up here, but the little hollow, yeah, go ahead.
There's a hollow right down here that the elevation is the same right across it, but the hollow is not on the map.
And it's almost straight down right here. Not real far, maybe 100 feet, but it's not something we want to walk down and walk back up. And that, because it's small and short, is not even on the map. It's a little bump on the map, which is a real good lesson. So now we have to make more decisions on what we're going to do. Say it again.
What I think now, based off of where I think we're at on the map and our location, I think we're going to go down and follow the creek, because that's a known feature to heading in the 40-degree direction, which should put us at a finger on the lake. If that is the case, that'll confirm where we're at.
Good thinking. So we were talking about Pinus strobus earlier. White pine cones are elongated and have that white substance on them. That works really well as a fire starter. So if you're looking out on a landscape and you see that tree, then that tree has more readily accessible resin in it than, let's say, a Virginia pine. And so that's a good one to know when you're looking out, because you can see it a real far away. For example, if you look behind me now, those pine trees, see how they're green up top, but there's not a lot of branching down through the main portion of the trunk? Those are Pinus virginiana. Yeah, Virginia pine, yellow pine. Some people call them black pine actually, but most people call them yellow pine or Virginia pine. Their pine cones are short, don't have as much resin on them. Not as easy to get the resin out of Virginia pine as it is the white pine. So from a survival bushcraft methodology, being able to ID those 2 different kinds of pine trees are beneficial to you. If you have to go to one or the other, then go to the white pine. So we're back down in the bottom, and there's actually a trail here. Again, I took that trail off the map to not give him that benefit, because this is a little bit of a secret I'm going to tell him, but we're not going to be on this trail for very long. He's now starting to confirm. Remember earlier when I was driving in, I was telling you what we're going to do. He's starting to add Tracy's puzzle pieces to his picture here. He's got a very foggy picture. Now, a puzzle, if you will. He's got one piece of the puzzle. That's at 40-degree angle on this creek. Adding to the fact that he's on a creek, that's a puzzle piece, right? Knowing that it's 40 degrees is another puzzle piece. Now what he's doing is he's going back to those two high points where the saddle was, adding those in, and we're going to continue to walk, or at least that's what it looks like he's doing. We're going to continue to walk down through here. Tell me what your mindset is, Wayne. What are you doing next?
Well, we're continuing to follow the creek down. I think I'm definitely in a quadrant, and I think I've narrowed it down to pretty close to where we're at based off of the triangulation from these two peaks with the saddle.
So why are we continuing to walk? What are you going to do down here? What are you looking for?
What am I looking for?
Yeah, why are we going down here? Tell me what's your mindset. Why are we walking this direction?
Well, our destination is in that way. We've got to get to the other side of the lake. This is going to
I did give him that. After he got within a really close distance where I think he was, I then gave him where we're going. So he's going that direction now.
So at this point, I am finding a way to get where we need to go.
Okay, good. Let's move out.
And I mean, we're right in here.
Now, so he's pointing to the map. He's probably within 250 meters of it now. He's taking it down another 250 meters. I want him to get a little bit closer. So how would we do that, Wayne?
How do we get closer?
Yeah, when I say closer, how would we get closer to knowing where you are?
Add more information.
Good. Puzzle. Tracy calls them puzzle pieces, right?
Yeah.
We're going to move more and add more puzzle pieces, add more confirmation to where he is. What kind of things would you look at to do that?
If I can find the end of this ridge over here, that'll give me a destination off of to my
so point to
my
that on
facing left. If I can.
So he's adding confirmation to where he's going, and I'm letting him lead. I'm getting behind you. So yeah, he's probably within 250 meters right now. Matter of fact, he's actually closer, but I'm not going to give him that added bonus. But now he's got to find another piece of this puzzle, if you will. And where we stand, there's just not a lot you can see. And this is the benefit of being a Kentuckian or being in Kentucky, is that in Big Sky country, you can see a lot of terrain features out in front of you, a lot. Different peaks and large valleys. You don't get that wonderful benefit in the hills of Kentucky. So it's very, very challenging to do what we're doing here, which is one of the reasons that we're very thankful and blessed to be born and raised and live in Kentucky, because it's just fantastic, right? Come join us. Moving out. Sorry, one more time.
There's the lake.
So what are you doing now?
There's a draw right here, which, again, confirming where I'm at, just to make sure on the So there's the flat top we were on up here earlier. There's a hill right here, and there's a very distinct draw right here. So I'm taking an angle on that, taking an azimuth just to confirm our location.
So take a look at our stump here, you all. You can see where I'm showing you right there is the center of the tree. The rings over here are thicker. That means that it would be that side of the tree, when it was standing, was getting more sunlight. So if this tree was in the opening of a field, and it's not, it's in a forest, that would tell us that that's the southern side of this particular tree. because the southern side of a tree for us in the northern hemisphere gets more sunlight. So the rings of this tree will be thicker over here. Again, in a forested environment like this, that's not true necessarily. It could be true, but it's not necessarily true, because the tree is going to get most sunlight on the side that has sunlight coming to the forest floor, or where it reaches out and gets canopy above and what have you. A lot of different variables here in a forest. But if we came across this tree in the middle of an opening, that would give us a very general sense of direction, just looking at a stump. Happy day. He's pointing out where he thinks that we are on the map, utilizing just map and compass. He's not using GPS at all. I just took a GPS waypoint, and he's within 60 meters of where he thinks he is. So that's a testament to Wayne's skill, which is fantastic. He's doing a fantastic job. I've given him the location that we need to go to. Now it's just a matter of navigating there. He has found himself on the map. He was within probably 300 meters the first time, which is actually pretty good, because he is utilizing a what did I end up with? Because I tried. Yeah, he's using a 1 in 24,000 map. That's a lot of information, you all. And he's utilized that to find himself within 60 meters. That's actually really good, Wayne.
Thank you.
Attaboy.
I had good teachers. Go to Nature Alliance navigation class. Land Nav. Tracy Trimble, Craig Cottle. They do it right.
Tracy's the man. Now, as we're walking here, take a look. You may have noticed earlier, I didn't point this out, but I'm going to point it out now. You'll see this creek right here that's in front of us is lined with sycamore trees all the way down it. So if you know that sycamore trees are water dogs, they really like water, then, oh man, there's some old chicken of the woods. I'm gonna stop and get a coordinate here. Me and Jennifer come get this next year. Sorry, I got off subject. But this also, if you're walking through here, is an indicator of water that's here regularly. Waterways that are intermittent streams, which appears dots on your map, sometimes won't have these sycamores, but this one will. So even from a far distance, you can look through here and see a bunch of sycamores and know, hey, there's a stream that has water in it regularly. That's a good indicator from a natural perspective of navigation. So another tree that you'll find around water here in Kentucky is a river birch, which is what we have here. This has this paper-like substance on the outside that is the bark, okay, which makes good tinder if it's dry. Now this is really wet, but I could dry that out. But think about it, even the green trees here, if I were to choose some branches, I could come over here and find one of these river birches that has dead branch in it, like this one right here that's hanging off of it that's dead. This is going to be much better for building a fire than anything else out here. So being able to identify your tree species in the wintertime is, from my perspective, just an absolute necessity in bushcraft and survival. And I quite frankly can't figure out why other people don't put so much effort into that. But with that said, river birch got a lot of resin in it, so it's a good choice. Because in a woodland like this, we've got some pine trees, but we don't have any cedars, because it's an old forest, so you're not going to see a lot of cedars out here. That's not the kind of tree that grows out here. So that's another piece of the puzzle for just being a good woodsman.
If I can just stand and kind of point it the way I see it going, is that kind of how you work that?
If you run a parallel line?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This close to it? Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're doing now, you all, we don't want to go down there to get a bearing up this holler. So the question is, can we take a parallel line this close to it? It's going to be off. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be relatively close. So he's now walking around basically the edge of the lake that he found, and every holler, ravine, valley that he runs into, he's going to utilize as confirmation. We are currently on a trail just to make the walking a little bit easier, but here in a minute I'm going to tell him he has to leave the trail and navigate cross country. So what he's doing now is just simply, we could walk around the edge of the lake and do the same thing, but we're taking advantage of the trail to make it a little bit easier on the walking. So what you got, dude?
Well, if I took that right, that's this right here.
Okay.
Just because the azimuth actually is coming the opposite direction.
That intermittent stream right there?
This one right here.
The little one. Okay. He's right. Hey, just another thing. That's a good woodsmanship skills. Somebody has tried to drag this tree out of the way of the trail and broke their rope. And I hope if you're the one that did this, you're watching. Are you watching? Because if you left this here, you're an idiot and a jackass. So yeah, you screwed up and broke your rope because you don't know what you're doing. And at the same time, you just left this out here to, you know, be garbage. It drives me crazy. So Wayne and I are going to pick this up and haul it out of here, make the woods a little bit better. Do we have to do this for Wayne's Land Nav? No. This is what I call the woods mojo. You take care of the woods and the woods will take care of you. So apply that to your life. All right, little different as far as using terrain features here, and it'll be difficult. Try my best so you can see it. You may notice that we've come to pretty much the top of a smaller hill, and it's relatively flat right here. So we've been using this trail as a handrail coming out through here. If you don't know what a handrail is, you need to come to class. But here's what Wayne's doing. Tell me what you're doing, Wayne.
This is where I took my last bearing. Had that, it was pretty dead on. We've come up this direction. We're roughly in this area right here, based off of the elevation, and we're getting ready to come up on this draw right here, which should have another water crossing for us. You can already kind of see that the terrain's getting ready to drop off, and then come back up. So I'm pretty confident that we're coming up on this right here.
And how will you confirm that?
Once we get here, I'll take a bearing down the draw, which I'll then confirm with my compass and map, or azimuth.
He's right. This is a good lesson right here, particularly on navigation. So he doesn't realize it, but I'm getting ready to make him go cross country and get off the trail. It was just to traverse where we were going. It's just best to get on the trail and utilize it for its advantages. But this road right here, see this big old road? That is nowhere to be found on the map. So you'd come across this and go, oh man, here's a road here. Where is it at on the map? And it could be easy to confuse you. So just be aware, there's a lot of things out here that are not on maps. And there are things that are on maps that are no longer there, like abandoned trails and roads and stuff of that nature. So let's say, for example, that this road was here and it had been abandoned and not kept up. It might have 20-year-old trees in it and it would be impassable. And so it might show up as a road on the map and you're looking at going, this is covered in trees. It can't be on the map, and that would be very confusing. So the better thing to do is to look at the terrain features of the land. Don't bank on trails, roads, and stuff of that nature. Use them when you can, obviously, but also get really keyed in on, I heard Wayne say this earlier, looking at two hilltops in a saddle, looking at draws and ravines, getting measurements off those, and don't bank on your trails and your roads because they can often lead you astray. Wayne and I were talking here and got a good lesson. That first heading that first azimuth that he took was a full 60 degrees off. And after discussing it, he says he does that often. That's a good thing to recognize about yourself. That's somebody that knows how to set their ego aside and look at themselves and go, okay, I do this and I need to find ways around that. So you'll find ways like that. And there's some things that I do that I have a tendency to error on. And so I've developed quality control checks for myself when I'm navigating. Wayne's doing that, learning some things today about himself. Tracy's done that about himself. So the key is for you to get out and practice your skills, figure out what things you have that are error prone, and find solutions for them. And don't assume that, hey, I'm going to get this right. Just have ways to check yourself. So it's a good lesson right there. Good lesson right here too. Not easy walking. So, but you can even, me and Wayne haven't talked about this, but you can even see the mood has changed with our exercise today, because Wayne has continued, as we tried to show you on camera, added pieces of the puzzle. And he's added so many now that we have an incredibly clear picture of where we are. And that certainly lightens the mood and makes your life a lot more enjoyable getting outdoors. So that's what he's doing now, is just adding one more. So as a encouragement to you, get outside, practice your nav skills with map and compass. It adds to your enjoyment, adds to the challenge of it, and you can become a better woodsman. So some of you may be asking, why not just use your GPS? You can. Why not stay at the house, sleep in your bed, sit on the couch and watch stupid reruns or binge on something? There might be a time for that, but there's also a time if you want to consider yourself a woodsman or a woodswoman, a bushcrafter, a survivalist. Keep this in mind. This is important to me in the way we do things at Nature Line School. Is don't fall victim to the methodology of only focusing your attention on the exceptions to the rule. There's millions of people every day that go outdoors, navigate, come back safe, and you never hear about them. It's the idiots that do things wrong that you hear about. I don't want you to be one of those. I want you to be one of the others. So learn how to be a proper woodsman. Nav skills is a big part of that. So where are we, Wayne?
Oh, right here.
So does that confirm where you think we are again?
Mm-hmm.
How many pieces of the puzzle do you think we put together here? 20, 30?
Yeah.
Different confirmation pieces?
Yeah.
So now...
You notice the hat?
Boom!
It's all about the hat.
So now he's got to go cross country. I told him when he feels super comfortable, we're going cross country again. And so we now have to go back to navigating, utilizing terrain features, and making our way out of here. So we're now, all the puzzle pieces are put together. He knows where he is, but we're now going cross country. So we're getting some of the other land navigation practice in that we haven't utilized today for the sake of training, which is we're leapfrogging with one another. He's pushing me out. He's counting his paces, because we know we're going about 1,000 meters, about a kilometer this way. What's the heading? What's the azimuth?
82 degrees.
82 degrees. So we're basically going through the woods, no trail, no nothing, leapfrogging with one another. I'm trying my best to help him learn his trees a little bit today too, to help him become a better woodsman too. So we're looking at trees along the way, utilize them as identifying features. So if you'll start to notice, the shapes of trees are an indicative of different species too. And so we're looking at different trees out there, because if he says go to that tree out there with a bark on it, right, there's a million trees out here like that. But if we're looking at particular shapes, since certain trees have different shapes, then we can even look at different species of trees from, 200 meters out just by the shape of it. So we're trying to play with that as well. And that's probably a little bit advanced for this exercise, but he's doing so good with his nab, we're adding to it. So you may have noticed I put this bandana on my head. One of the things that you'll learn when you're starting to do stuff like this and you're pushing somebody out that's wearing a lot of earth tone clothing like I am today, it's going to be hard for him to see me. So I put the bandana on to make it easy. This next shot, take a look at this. He'll probably be able to see me all the way on that hillside over there. I don't know if you can see that in the shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way over there. He's still doing 82 degrees and you're still doing your pace count, right? How far are we?
About 75 meters.
75 meters in. So one of the things that you can do, and I'll talk to you while I'm walking, is you can come up with your pace count for 100 meters, right? We do 100 meters instead of 100 yards. It's just easier to do the math, particularly when you got metric grid squares, MGRS or UTMs, USNG on your map, because it's real easy to pick up 100 meters, 1,000 meters on those sorts of maps. So come up with your pace count. Mine is 71 left foots basically for 100 meters. Wayne's is going to be different than that. So I'm not keeping up with mine. It's his exercise, not mine. But so he walks his pace count and has to do that math in his head. So you can imagine 71 steps for 100 meters can get kind of awkward doing the math. One of the things that Tracy taught me to do is just write that down in your notebook and get a multiplying factor that way. That way you have that multiplying factor and or division factor. And pretty quick, like if I've taken this many steps, I'm this many meters. And so that's a really good piece of advice to keep in a notebook as you're getting started. So good stuff. Practiced here today. And as I'm walking down through here, I'm looking at all kinds of trees. I'm getting to see turkey scratching. I'm walking on a deer trail right now to make it a little easier on me. Just getting a lot of wood skills in and doing an exercise like this. Communication is key when you're doing this. So he's not doing a good job of that. So I'm going to say it like this because I know he's going to watch this video. And if I call him out for this on video, he'll fix himself. Because I've already told him this a few times. So I'm moving out there and he's like, all right, stop. All right. And then he says, all right, and he's done. Now, he knows what he's saying in his head. He wants me to stop there, but he didn't tell me to stop. Me walking out through here and in the leaves, I can barely hear him. So having a good word of stop or you're good or X or something like that is going to be beneficial to the rabbit that's out front, because they can't hear very well and they don't know what you're thinking. So come up with a good word, everybody, including you, Wayne. So I got out here. This is what he did this time. I was off 2 steps. He said, to your right 2 steps. And then he just closed his compass up and started walking. I have to keep a good visual on and make sure that I'm on the right spot. So if he just said good, then I would stop. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So have a good word. And keep in mind when you're doing this with other people, you usually talk in terms of the person that's out. Meaning I'm turned and facing him, he'll tell me right 2 steps. That's my 2 steps because I'm turned facing him. And that'll keep communication more efficient. So look behind me, you all. Do you see the trees where it's skyline? That's where we're getting to the top of a ridge. Maybe it might open up and become a flat. We don't know. If we look at our map, though, we can. So point where we're going here, Wayne.
This is what we're seeing right here, right now. Once we get up here to the top, there should be a ravine with water going down, well, going north. But I'm giving you the map as we're looking at it. So we're roughly here moving that direction.
So that's just another confirmation. And so once you start navigating, it's not that, hey, you're done with that confirmation. And this is one of the biggest things that you can get out of good land nav practice, and that is you're constantly confirming where you are. Every time you get to a terrain feature that you can confirm your location, you take advantage of that and do it. Hey, human footstep right here. Like a deer hunter sitting here or something. Like a deer hunter or something. So keep your eyes open. Sorry. Hey, deer hunting is over. That's why I picked Monday. It was the last day of muzzleloading seasons yesterday. Yeah. But there's still possibility of having bow hunters out here. Okay. So just keep your eyes open, because we're getting close to where people could easily park and walk back here and hunt. Okay. That's another thing. You need to be, I typically don't do this type of stuff during gun seasons, whether it's muzzleloading or regular rifle season. Bow hunters have such a large amount of time that they can hunt, or we can hunt. So there's not as much time for gun hunters, and I don't like to screw them up. I like to share the land, be a good partner with other people, because I'm a deer hunter too, and I understand that. So that's why we've come out here at a time when very unlikely that we're going to run into deer hunters out here right now. Share the land. So getting back to what I was talking about, it's important. Sorry, I keep changing hands. Wow, that's cool. See this right here? That is excellent food for grouse. So if you were grouse hunting out here, well, deer would eat it too. Good thing to see and start looking for grouse. But what I was saying is just constantly confirm your location. Have the map in a location where you can get to it more readily and use it often. So take a look, guys. See how thick this is? This is a good technique to use. Tracy and Mark Ryan discussed this in the podcast on mountaineering about utilizing an altimeter. So we're going to use the altimeter on Gaia GPS. We've got we took a reading right where we're standing pretty much. Know that our elevation is a certain elevation. So what Wayne's going to do now, just to add a little bonus and have a little fun, we're going to basically go around this terrain feature, which is the end of a big hollow. We're not using any terrain association on the map or taking a bearing or heading or azimuth or any of that stuff. All he's doing is he's going to keep us on that 275 degrees in elevation, or 275 feet in elevation, all the way around through here, and utilize that as a navigation tool. Because we know we want to go over there on the other side of this hollow. So to make it easy on the walking, instead of going down and then up, he's going to keep us on that. It's a good exercise and good thing to practice. So another thing, take this off now, that we just did is we started to traverse around here at a certain elevation. I think I said 275 feet. It's 275 meters above sea level. I think I said feet earlier. Anyway, 275 is kind of what we're staying on. But another thing that we're utilizing for navigation a little bit is natural navigation. The southern facing hillside is going to have more thicker branches on the trees. If you see a stump, the ring should be thicker over there. That's kind of general and very generic. It has a lot to do with nutrition of the soil too. But the other thing is greenbrier grows out here. And I pointed out the berries for the grouse earlier. Greenbriers are going to go thicker and more dense on the southern facing hillside of a hill compared to the north, simply because it needs more sunlight. The idea that moss only grows on the north side of trees is wrong. Moss grows on the moist side of trees. Typically that's the north side of trees in an open field, but in a forested environment like this, if there's a tree that is surrounded by shade on all sides, it'll have moss on all sides of it. So you can't utilize that. That's an old school thing. It's been told for years. It's just taken out of context, if you will. So we're taking a break. I need a break. I'm starting to sweat a little bit more than I want to. So we're gonna take a break and drink some water and chat, enjoy one another's company, and be back at you later. All right, everybody, last video. Check it out. See that parking lot? See Wayne walking to that parking lot? That's where his car is parked. So it's been good. We'll get down here and have a chat with Wayne, see what his thoughts are, and then I'll probably do a close up on that a little bit later. We have made it out. So guys and gals, Wayne is out. He's done a fantastic job from my perspective. What are your thoughts on it, dude?
So I had a rough start. I'll admit that. I made a couple of mistakes right at the beginning, but I was able to stop and take a look and reassess and
stop, think, observe, plan, maybe.
Yeah. Stop, think, observe, and plan. And got on course, and it just confirmation after confirmation let me know I was doing the right thing.
I didn't ask you before, but how many times did you confirm before you felt comfortable? I should have asked you that along the way. All right, I got 3 things that I feel like I'm on. When did you start feeling good? 3, 10, 15?
Probably 10 or 15, maybe. Once we started moving out from our original location, and I started to getting some additional data points, I started getting more and more comfortable as we got along, and felt pretty comfortable by the time we figured out where the lake was in relation to where we were at.
That's kind of a big identifying feature. So that gives you some comfort knowing, hey, we are where we think we are. That's for sure. Cool, man. You did good. I'm happy for you. You worked hard to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate you.